For those paying attention, Tennessee accomplished exactly what it was supposed to do. It's supposed to beat Syracuse pretty handily, and it did just that. The good, the bad, the ugly. More reaction here on a Monday morning. Locked On Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good Monday morning, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Vols. I'm your host, Cain. Appreciate you guys for being here, making Locked On Vols a part of your morning routine, your first listen, your first watch each and every single morning. We're a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every single day. Happy Labor Day, everybody. Hope your holiday's treating you well. It's football season is officially off and running. We had games on Thursday night, on Friday night, on Saturday, of course. Headline here on this show, Tennessee football was in action on Saturday. We had games on Sunday. It is truly the best time of the year, and this show is going to be a good one, recapping everything that was Tennessee and Syracuse here on a Monday Locked On Vols. This episode is brought to you in part by our friends over at Gametime, where you can download the Gametime app, create an account, put in the promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, thanks to our friends over at Gametime. Tennessee wins over Syracuse 45-26. I'm going to give you my positives from the game, some mistakes and some reasons for concerns, but overall thoughts on the football game here in segment number 1. We're going to recap the scoring plays, how they came to be in segment number 2, and then we'll look at some stats and some Cainer grades coming up in segment number 3. All that and more again here on your Monday Locked On Vols. Don't forget, Twitter Tuesday coming up tomorrow. Send in those questions, comments, concerns, any questions you guys have from week 1 of Tennessee football, please let me hear them at _Cainer and at Locked On Vols. We would love to answer your questions here on the show tomorrow. All right, so again, I know that there's always going to be some people that predict, an upset. I know there's going to be some people that are going to really talk up the opponent whenever they're doing a segment on any team, Tennessee specifically or whatever. But for the overwhelming majority, there's one national writer that was at the game on a Saturday that I just could not believe what they made a comment to somebody else about what they thought about this game going into it. But nonetheless, pretty much everybody, right? Everybody assumed Tennessee was going to win this game pretty handily. And yeah, Tennessee's defense didn't finish the way Tennessee's defense started, but it was a 19-point win. Tennessee covered the spread at 13.5 thanks to our friends over there at FanDuel, and Tennessee handled business. Tennessee was a complete and utter dominant football team. And we'll start with some of the positives, man. I love that Tennessee played to its strengths, right? What is the strengths of your football team? The strengths of your football team are the running backs and the tight ends. Obviously spread the wealth on the ground with a three-headed monster in DESEAN Bishop and Peyton Lewis and Star Thomas, all who scored a touchdown in the game, by the way. Star Thomas came at the end in the third quarter as a receiving touchdown, but he really took over the game there in the fourth quarter. But all three of those guys really had good games. But I love the fact that they were keeping some things simple for Joey Aguilar. Part of that was screen passes. DESEAN Bishop had a 21-yard reception on a screen pass on 3rd and 10 in the first drive, and that looked really good. It was well designed. It was well executed. The right side of the offensive line went to work, and if you're an offensive lineman or were an offensive lineman back in the day, and there was called a screen, right? In your mind you're going to go like 1, 2, whatever, and then you're going to take off. You're going to clean up, right? You're going to make a wall. You're going to clean up, and I thought the right side of Tennessee's offensive line did a really good job cleaning up and allowing DESEAN Bishop some room to work there. I like that. Bishop later in the second half picked up 23 yards out of 12 personnel on a swing pass that was thrown to him with Miles Kitzman lead blocking. Utilizing the running backs in the passing game. Star Thomas, I mentioned earlier, right? That was a scramble drill. Very well executed off-platform throw by Joey Aguilar, keeping his eyes downfield, and good job by Star Thomas and just trying to make something happen out of nothing. That was not the play call. That was a scramble drill, and Tennessee found the end zone and found 6 on that scramble drill. Miles Kitzman set up a 1-yard touchdown run or 2-yard touchdown run for Peyton Lewis, the first touchdown of the game there in the first quarter. It was a one-handed catch down inside the 5-yard line. He got a touchdown later in the fourth quarter. That was a really good throw. Timing was good there. They looked at Ethan Davis on a screen. They looked at Ethan Davis on a slant in the red zone. Neither one of those were completed balls, but I love the fact that they were targeting both the running backs and the tight end in the passing game a whole lot. Aguilar as well, play to your strength. They called a couple of quarterback draws. They called a couple of quarterback sweeps, and I thought that was really, really noteworthy. Now, his biggest gain on the day with his legs was the 25-yard scramble on the second drive, and that obviously led to a touchdown. He was also able to pick up a first down on a quarterback draw later in the game. On third down in the second half, they did a straight quarterback sweep. Didn't get the yard to gain, but again, I love the play call. I love the ability to run with your quarterback. And overall, I didn't think the receivers helped Joey Aguilar out as much as they could. Now, Joey Aguilar he was missing high all game long, right? And there were some balls that I thought the receivers could have helped him out some. There was a couple of just drops. But overall, I thought the passing game, there's not a lot to complain about. I thought the passing game was pretty good. We'll get into stats later in the show here for game number 1. I thought Joey Aguilar had a really solid debut for Tennessee. And while we're talking offense, right, shout out to the offensive line, okay? This was not your standard offensive line. Your starting right tackle, true freshman 5-star David Sanders, I suffered an injury in practice on Wednesday. Nobody knew about it until pregame, right? We put it on the board over at VolQuest.com. We tweeted it out that David Sanders wasn't going to be available. He was out there walking around in street clothes when everybody else was warming up. And it sounds like that he was very close to being able to play in this one, but they went ahead and held him out. And that's unfortunate, but he'll likely make his debut against East Tennessee State this week. So, but you had to shuffle some things up, right? What was the long-term solution if one of those tackles went down? Well, we saw it. You bumped Jesse Perry out, who was set to make his first start at right guard. You bump him out to right tackle. You flip Wendell Moy Jr. from left guard to right guard. Then you bring in Shamuel Morrow and let him start left guard. It's about getting – you look at the depth chart, you just throw the depth chart out the window, right? It's about getting the best 5 out there. It's about getting the best 5 on the field to make that right combination up front, and Tennessee did that. And they did it with style, man. This Tennessee offense, right, scored 5 touchdowns, had a 34-yard field goal, 493 yards of total offense, 7.2 yards per play. Tennessee rushed for an impressive 246 yards, an eye-popping 6.2 yards per carry. Tennessee threw for 247 yards, allowed no sacks. And again, this was a Plan B offensive line. So give a lot of credit to those guys up front. I think Wendell Moy is going to be fantastic. Lance Hurd, I thought, had a good game. I thought Sham, Jesse Perry, all those guys. Sam Pendleton, I thought they played a good game. So a lot of praise deserving to that offensive line for that performance. And then let's go to the defense. We'll start with some of the goods, right? 5 sacks, lost 27 yards. That really, really helped to hold that total team rushing total down to 103 yards, which is a really good stat for Tennessee. I like the fact that they blitzed the corners, the safeties, the star players, and the linebackers. I mean, Edwin Spillman was kind of a delay blitz. I love the design on the Arion Carter blitz. I mean, both of those were third down sacks. I thought that was big. Nathan Robinson up front, man, he was a monster. He forced a fumble in the scoop and score for Colton Hood. Defensive score, that's awesome. He also had a big-time hit on Steve Angeli on a third down throw that went incomplete there early in the game. 2 turnovers led to 14 points for Tennessee, right? One was that scoop and score. You scored on defense. That's always noteworthy. And Jalen McMurray had a batted ball down at the line of scrimmage and into the hands of a diving Jeremiah Thielander. And then Tennessee had a short field to work with, went and scored. I was so impressed. I'll get more on this in segment number 3. I was so impressed with Tennessee's corners. Ricky Gibson, exited early. Ty Redmond came in, a true freshman, played 60 snaps. According to Pro Football Focus, he had the highest grade on Tennessee's defense. Thought Colton Hood was everywhere. I was so impressed with Tennessee's cornerbacks. And again, that kind of leads me to what I wasn't impressed with about Tennessee's defense, and that was not getting off the field. Okay, you didn't finish. You weren't defending the run as well in the second half as you were the first half, and I think a lot of that was Tennessee was down so many defensive tackles. You were super light in the interior, okay? But also, it's because Syracuse converted on 3 of 4 fourth downs. On 3 of those 3 or 4 fourth downs, on the conversions that they were good on 3 of those, they scored touchdowns 2 plays later. 2 plays, and 5 plays later. Syracuse was one of the more aggressive fourth down teams a season ago. So how many teams are going to be willing to stake a turnover on downs or be willing to do that as the year goes on? Probably not as many. But Syracuse was very aggressive, and they finished those drives. They made Tennessee pay. If Tennessee could have got off the field on fourth down, the scoreboard would have been drastically different in this football game. Drastically, right? So again, I'm not ready to hit the panic button on Tennessee's defense. Was I disappointed in the way Tennessee's defense finished the game? Sure. They played everybody. They were dealing with corner. They were dealing with injuries at corner, at linebacker, and defensive tackle, man. I mean, they played a ton of guys. I think that's going to help them down the line, but I'm not freaking out about Tennessee's defense. I think Tennessee's defense is going to be just okay. And also 5 sacks, 8 TFLs, a defensive touchdown, and an interception. Tennessee's defense still did a lot of good things. So overall, man, I'm really impressed with Tennessee. Overall, I think Tennessee did a really, really good job. And sure, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't picture perfect a lot of the time. But going into this game, if you didn't think Tennessee was going to dominate or Tennessee was going to cover, you haven't been watching this podcast, because that was the expectation, and that was certainly the outcome. 45-26, the final score. Tennessee handled business against Syracuse in the season opener. All right, when we come back, let's walk through some of those scoring plays, okay? We'll go back, we'll recap how Tennessee got on the scoreboard, all that and more. That's coming up next as we continue on here. It's your Monday morning Locked On Vols. Stay tuned. Quick question for you guys, you college football fans out there. If you could go back in time and sit front row for your school's biggest rivalry game, what hat would you be wearing? Yes, I said, what hat would you be wearing? For me, I would be wearing the game. These aren't just hats. They're the same vintage styles fans wore back in the 80s and the 90s. And guess what? They still go for the same price they did back then. So when you use the promo code Locked On, you're going to get your vintage hat for just $16.99. Head on over to GameCaps.com, thegamecaps.com. Grab your team's classic bar or retro circle design. Use the promo code Locked On for an exclusive discount, because legends wear the game. Look at these hats right now. If you're watching on YouTube, look at these vintage, beautiful hats right here. Oh, yeah. Look at those. That's an orange one, orange with white lettering. Here's a black with orange lettering. These are beautiful, beautiful. Grab your team's classic bar or retro circle design today. Use that promo code Locked On for an exclusive discount, because legends, well, they wear the game. All right, big shout out to our friends over at Gametime. College football is so back, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's just nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices, jumping in at checkout. That's why I use Gametime. The app gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay for. I pulled up Gametime, and in just a couple of taps, I saw amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite college football games as low as $25. The app made it super simple. I could even see the exact view from my seat before purchasing, right? Who lets you do that? So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, put in the promo code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code Locked On College for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today and check it all out, shall you? Hey guys, we have an important request. Locked On wants to hear from you. We put together a survey to learn about our fans, listeners, and what makes your favorite podcasts even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and the questions, and we can answer some questions about advertising as well. So go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes. Really, really do appreciate you guys for helping out. All right, back into your Monday morning Locked On Vols. Tennessee football is 1-0 to begin the season. Tennessee wins over Syracuse 45-26. And Tennessee, man, it was a slugfest early on. This is the time in Monday's show typically where I replay the scoring plays, courtesy of the Vol Radio Network. For this show, hopefully this will be the only show. I'm kind of working through some legalities here, what I can't do, what I'm allowed to, what I'm not allowed to. So I'm kind of trying to get these scoring plays back, because I think it's a really neat feature here on a Monday show, and I hope that I continue doing that this football season. But for today, we're just going to walk through it. We're just going to talk through it, rather, and we're not going to listen to the call courtesy of the Vol Radio Network. It was good, though. Let me tell you, it was really, really good. All those calls were fantastic with Mike Key, the new voice of the Vols. All right. So Tennessee goes down there and takes the opening kickoff, marching down the field, 9 plays, 59 yards, settles for a 34-yard field goal for Max Gilbert. Tennessee's up 3-0 early on. Tennessee forces a punt for Syracuse, gets the football back. Tennessee marches down the field, 12 plays, 85 yards, takes 3 minutes and 35 seconds off the clock, and Peyton Lewis trucks his way into the end zone. And like I mentioned earlier in segment number 1, you had Miles Kitselman, a one-handed catch inside the 5 that took that down to the 2-yard line, kind of setting the scene for Peyton Lewis. And earlier in that drive, it was a scramble from Joey Aguilar that put Tennessee in position. Really kind of the big chunk gainer of that drive, if you will, was a 25-yard scramble from your quarterback in Joey Aguilar. So for the first time in 2025, Tennessee finds the checkerboards. Tennessee, not at Neyland, but there were checkerboards in the end zone there in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and Tennessee finds the end zone. It was Peyton Lewis, a 2-yard touchdown. So Tennessee led 10-0 at that point. Defensive score, here we go. Minute left in the first quarter, right? Play starts, and it is Nathan Robinson that gets in there. He's wearing a club on his right hand, right? Gets in there, pokes the ball loose from Steve Angeli. Ball's just floating around down there. Boo Carter's running up. Colton Hood comes up, gets it in stride, okay, and runs 22 yards down the near sideline into the end zone. A defensive touchdown for Tennessee. Took 10 seconds off the clock, and Tennessee led 17-0 with 56 seconds left in the first quarter. Again, it was all because of Nathan Robinson, who earlier, before that, had a big hit on Steve Angeli on a third down throw that really helped kind of rush that throw and force a bad throw. So Nathan Robinson was all over the place, right? A defensive tackle to begin this game. So things were sitting pretty for the Volunteers. Tennessee led 17-0 at the end of the first quarter. Well, Syracuse wouldn't be held down for long. Syracuse got in the end zone, capping an 11-play, 75-yard drive that took 4 minutes and 16 seconds off the clock. It was Yasin Willis who punched it in from 2 yards out, and the score was 17-7. Now, remember, earlier in the drive there, Syracuse converted on its first fourth down of the game. It was a 4th and 10 at the Tennessee 35. 4th and 10, kind of in no man's land, but it's 4th and 10. And Steve Angeli finds Jonte Cook for 29 yards in the soft part of the zone. And, it's Syracuse that scored 2 plays after that, making it 17-7. So that was with 11:40 left in the second quarter. Tennessee answered right back, ensuing possession. Only 26 seconds of game action later. Why? Because it was a 2-play drive, 75 yards, only took 26 seconds off the clock, as I just mentioned, and it was Joey Aguilar, a bomb to Braylon Staley. 73 yards. Tennessee was up 24-7, and all of Vol Nation collectively said, thank goodness, right? Finally, we can connect on a deep ball, right? And it was a really good route. It was a skinny post, okay? It's not a go. It's a skinny post. And Lewis Reddick actually pointed out when I went back and watched the rewatch, and he pointed it out accurately, right? The corner flipped his hips like he was going to run a go, and all Staley had to do was dip inside on that skinny post. The play action pass kind of froze. I don't want to say forced up, but froze the safety. And Braylon Staley, middle of the field, open for business. He could go all day long, and it was a great throw on the money there from Joey Aguilar, 73 yards, and that was a booming play. And Tennessee went up 24-7. Well, it was Syracuse that would answer right back before halftime, and I just love the responses from Tennessee the entire time in this game. Love the responses from Tennessee. I'll get to some here in a moment. Another example of which, but it was Jonte Cook, okay, for Jonte Cook from Syracuse. Just under 2 minutes left in the first half. Took a 3-yard pass from Steve Angeli, and it capped a 49-yard, 9-play drive that made it 24-14. On that series as well, another 4th down conversion. It was 4th and 1 from the Tennessee 5, and Yasin Willis is able to get the line to gain before Angeli found Cook 2 plays later, and it was 24-14 heading into the locker room break. But Tennessee gets the ball back, okay? Tennessee marches in just a minute 29, 75 yards, 6 plays. DeSean Bishop scored not once but twice. They didn't count the first one. And DeSean Bishop gets into the end zone, a 1-yard touchdown plunge, and that was in large part due to a tackle that he broke in the backfield. I mean, he was wrapped up. Nowhere to go, and he breaks the tackle in the backfield and sprints for a 47-yard gain, again, giving Tennessee an opportunity to score before the halftime, and you let go a touchdown. You let a touchdown score within 2 minutes of the first half. Tennessee answers right back. It was all DESEAN Bishop on that drive. Tennessee headed in the locker room leading 31-14. At this point in time, you had a fumble, right? You had a fumble, and that was bad, and immediately after that fumble, it was the scoop and score for Colton Hood. And so that was a great response. And then you allow a touchdown here with less than 2 minutes left to go in the half, and you come right back and you find the end zone. I mean, the responses from Tennessee's team when adversity struck was fantastic in this game. You go on to the second half. It was not the best second half for Tennessee. Tennessee did fumble early in the third quarter, and gave it over to Syracuse. Mesh point fumble right there, gave it over to Syracuse, and actually that was the Colton Hood. Sorry, I'm a little all over the place. That was the Colton Hood response there with the scoop and score touchdown. It was a Tennessee interception. It was a batted ball, a blitz off the edge from star Jalen McMurray, gets his hands up, bats the ball down, okay, and then linebacker Jeremiah Thielander goes all out, makes that interception, sets up Tennessee with a short field. Tennessee went to work. 7 plays, 17 yards, 2:27 off the clock. Star Thomas hauls in a 7-yard touchdown pass from Joey Aguilar to get on the board and make it 38-14. Remember, that was a scramble drill, right? That was not the play that was designed up. Got good protection. Joey scanned 1 option, 2 option, 3 option, and then finally the pocket broke through. He had to go out to his left. You had Star Thomas from the backfield release out, and eyes downfield, off-platform throw, beautiful touch on the ball. Just a fantastic play for Tennessee, Star Thomas and Joey Aguilar. So Tennessee led 38-14, but here comes Syracuse. Yasin Willis, 1-yard touchdown run, gets into the end zone, makes it 38-20. They converted another 4th down into points on that one. Later in the fourth quarter, it was a 1-yard touchdown run from Yasin Willis again, capping an 88-yard drive, 14 plays, making it 38-26. But then Tennessee comes in with the last laugh. Less than 4 minutes to go, Miles Kitzman scores from 2 yards out. Beautiful touch on the ball from Joey Aguilar on a 2-yard touchdown pass, 54 yards, 9 plays, 4:42 off the clock. And that was the last scoring of the ball game, 45-26. Was the final score. Tennessee scored 5 touchdowns, kicked 1 field goal. Tennessee's offense, we'll get to here in a moment, had dang near 500 yards total offense. Tennessee's defense scored here. There was a lot going on in this game. Typically, again, we hear from the Vol Radio Network's call. Hopefully, we'll do that as the season goes along. But for today, we kind of just wanted to walk through it and kind of what happened that led to each and every score. Because I think that as you tell the story of a football game, I think it's important to say what led to the score, what happened to get Tennessee in position, and that's kind of what I wanted to do right there. So anyway, great stuff there. When we come back, Cain grades, we'll take a look at the stat sheet, all that and more as we continue on here. It's your Monday morning, Locked On Vols. Stay tuned. Guys, you probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Ready. Rugiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rugiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast. On average, in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. Head on over to Rugiet.com/LockedOnCollege. Use the promo code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off today. That's Rugiet, RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege. Use promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit Rugiet website for full safety information. You can check it all out at RugietReady.com. All right, guys, we got a final segment left here this Monday morning Locked On Vols. We are recapping, we're reacting, we're celebrating Tennessee's 45-26 win over Syracuse in the season opener Aflac kickoff game from Atlanta, Georgia. Again, we kind of showed you how that happened, kind of gave you some of my big thoughts in segment number 1. Look at the stat sheet right now. I mean, Tennessee dominated. Tennessee dominated the stat sheet as expected. Tennessee had 493 yards of total offense on 7.2 yards per play. Syracuse had 377 yards of total offense on 4.5 yards per play. Tennessee ran 68 plays. Syracuse ran 84 in this football game. Tennessee got 22 first downs, Syracuse 24 first downs. Tennessee rushed for just an incredible 246 yards, while Syracuse, because of sacks really helped with this number, 5 sacks, managed only 103 rushing yards. Tennessee threw for 247 yards. Syracuse threw for 274. Tennessee was penalized 7 times for 65 yards. Syracuse 4 times for 30 yards. Tennessee's never going to win the time of possession battle. 25-29 for Tennessee, 34-31 for Syracuse. Third down conversions. Syracuse is 5 of 14 on third downs. 3 of 4, and that was costly for Tennessee on fourth downs. Tennessee was 7 of 12 on third downs and didn't attempt a fourth down conversion. Tennessee, this is what I like right here. In the red zone, Tennessee was 5 for 5, scored all 5 times at the red zone, capping the drives 4 times with a touchdown. That's always great to see. Tennessee had 5 sacks. Syracuse had no sacks, and Tennessee got 7 points off turnovers, really 14 points off turnovers, of course, because one of those was a legit scoop and score. Joey Aguilar, I mean, what more can you say? What a debut for Tennessee. Was he perfect? No, he was not. But Joey Aguilar was really, really good. I thought that he played well. I thought that the moment wasn't too big for him. He was cool, calm, collective. I thought that he persevered. I thought he was a little bit high all day long, but overall, I thought that he was really solid. You look at kind of how he was. He was 20 yards down the field, left hash, 0 for 1. Middle of the numbers, 1 for 1, that 73-yard touchdown to Braylon Staley. He was 20 yards down the field to the right hash, 0 for 2. 10 to 20 yards, intermediate routes. On the outside right, he was 1 for 2, 16 yards. Outside left, 7 yards, 1 for 1. And in the middle of the field, he was 3 for 4 for 34 yards. And then short passes, 0 to 10 yards, within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage, 0 for 2. A lot of this was screens, missing high, 0 for 2 to the right, 2 for 2, 18 yards to the 0 for 2 to the left, 2 for 2, 18 yards to the right, 4 for 7, 36 yards in the middle. So he was really effective in the middle, and that's something that we've been just hoping that Tennessee's offense would attack the middle of the field, the last couple of years, and Tennessee was, Joey Aguilar was, 7, 10, 11 for 12, 16, 18. He was 11 for 18 for, I don't have a calculator here, but 73 yards, 34 yards, 36 yards, 60 yards. I mean, he was putting it up, putting it down, man. He was really, really good. According to Pro Football Focus, when he was kept clean in the pocket, he was 12 of 20 on 20 dropbacks. When he was under pressure, he was 4 of 8 on 9 dropbacks. When he was not blitzed, he was 5 for 8 on 9 dropbacks. When he was blitzed, he was 11 for 20 on 20 dropbacks. Pro Football Focus believes he graded out very, very well in this regard. And I'm not going to say the grades because I don't think that they're really I don't know what to make of the grades, to be honest with you. So I'm not going to read that out. Pass blocking real quick. Looks like a Tennessee graded out very, very well. Pass blocking, again, allowed no sacks. 31 dropbacks for Jesse Perry. He allowed 1 hurry. 17 dropbacks for Ethan Davis. He allowed no hurries. Let's see here. Sam Pendleton, 30 dropbacks, 1 hurry. Wendell Moy Jr., 31 dropbacks, no hurries. Lance Hurd, 31 dropbacks, 2 hurries. Sham Umarov, 31 dropbacks, 3 hurries. Quarterback was never hit, not sacked, not hit 1 time. So I thought the pass blocking was pretty solid, pretty solid in this football game. So again, Joey Aguilar was 16 of 28, 247, had 3 touchdowns. That's solid. I love the way Tennessee utilized the running backs. I'm intrigued to know about the running back rotation moving forward. A lot of fans want to see more Star Thomas. I don't think that DeSean Bishop had a great game. I don't think Peyton Lewis did anything to take away from any snaps for him. It's a great problem to have if you're Darrell Sims, no doubt. But Star Thomas led the way, 92 yards on 12 carries. He averaged 7.7 yards per carry, which is really good. Had that 7-yard receiving touchdown as well. DeSean Bishop, 82 yards on 11 carries, 7.5 yards per carry. DeSean Bishop also hauled in 2 receptions for 44 yards. You had Peyton Lewis, 34 yards on 6 carries, 5.7 yards per carry, and a touchdown. You go to receiving. Chris Brazel led the way receptions-wise, 5 receptions on 8 targets, 62 yards. Braylon Staley led the way yards-wise, 95 yards, 73 of which came on 1 play, on 4 receptions, 6 targets, 1 touchdown. Mike Matthews had 2 receptions, 29 yards on 5 targets. Yeah, I mean, pretty solid overall. Pretty solid work. Let's go to the defense. Tennessee again, 5 sacks, 7 TFLs, 2 forced fumbles, 10 pass breakups, which is really impressive. 10 pass breakups. I thought Aaron Carter played with his hair on fire. He had 9 tackles, 1 sack, 1 TFL. Joshua Joseph, 7 tackles, 1 sack, 1 TFL, 1 forced fumble. Jalen McMurray, I thought, had a good game. 7 tackles, 1 sack, 1 TFL. Tyree Weathersby, 6 tackles. Edwin Spillman, 6 tackles, 1 sack, 1 TFL. Nathan Robinson, 3 tackles, 1 sack, 1 TFL, 1 forced fumble. Again, I thought Tennessee was really, really solid in that regard. I'm going to look at the pass coverage. I had this here just a moment ago. Okay. Colton Hood. He gave up 1 reception, 5 targets for 5 yards. Ty Rebin, who I thought was incredible off the bench, playing 60 snaps, right, as a true freshman, gave up 1 reception on 3 targets for 28 yards. Typically, safeties are going to give up more receptions, right, because they're not playing up on the line. Idris Farouk, who I thought flashed as well, 3 receptions on 4 targets. Boo Carter, 1 reception on 2 targets. 1 was costly. Boo Carter also had the quarterback wrapped up in the backfield on that 4th and 1 in the second half. Could have been a sack, and that was all for naught. That was unfortunate. Andre Turrentine, 5 targets, 5 receptions. I just thought the corners played really, really good. Jalen McMurray, 1 target, 1 reception, 12 yards. I thought the corners were, fantastic in this football game. So, offensive line, I'm going to give an A to. You have all that yards, all that production, and you don't allow a sack. And it was a makeshift offensive line, not makeshift, but it was Plan B offensive line. Offensive line gets an A. I think quarterback, I'm going to give a solid B. I thought Joey Aguilar was fantastic. I do think that his throws missed high at points in times. I think his receivers could have helped him out at points in times. I'm gonna give Joey Aguilar a B+. I thought he was really, really good. Running backs get an A. I thought they were phenomenal. Tight ends get an A because they're a big part of the run game. Receivers are gonna get a B because there were some drops and there were some balls that were catchable where you could have helped your quarterback out. But wide receivers overall, I thought, for a team that hadn't practiced a lot together, a group that hadn't practiced a lot together, pretty solid, so I'll give him a B. Defensive line, I'm going to give a C- because as the game went along and due to the injuries, I thought the run fits weren't as good in the second half, and I thought that gave up, running lanes. Okay, so I'm going to give the defensive line a C. I'm going to give the linebackers a solid B. I thought Aaron Carter played well. I thought Jeremiah T-Lander shined. I thought Edwin Spillman flashed. Okay, Ben Bolton got a lot of run. Jordan Harmon was very productive in his 12 snaps. Brendan Ains got in there at the end. Overall, I'm going to give the linebackers a B. Corners, I'm going to give a B+. I thought the corners were really good. Safeties, I'll give a C, even though I think Idris Farouk really flashed and did some things. Caleb Beasley as well hit the quarterback one time in the backfield. Jalen McMurray, I'm going to give a B+ at the star position. Boo, I'm going to give, if I could split the star position, Jalen McMurray a B+. Boo, I'm going to give a B, probably a C, because then again, that 4th down play was not very good. But overall, I thought Tennessee, it's just about getting off the field on 4th downs. The scoreboard would have been drastically different probably if Tennessee could have gotten off the field on those 4th downs. But overall, game 1, it was far from perfect, but can't really complain, right? Tennessee wins 45-26, and the Volunteers are 1-0 coming back home for the home opener this Saturday, 3:30 at Neyland Stadium against East Tennessee State University. Hopefully, we'll hear from Josh Heupel later today. We'll get a word on some injuries. We'll get a word on some other guys who are banged up and everything. We'll get you set for another football game coming up this weekend right here on Locked On Vols. Don't forget to send in your questions, your comments, your concerns. Please, I want to hear from you guys at @_Cainer, at Locked On Vols. We'll answer those questions in the mailbag portion of the show coming up tomorrow right here on Locked On Vols. Hit me up at _Cainer and at Locked On Vols. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Couldn't do this show without you everydayers. Same time, same place. Let's do it again tomorrow, everybody. This is Locked On Vols.